In 1975, a country forgot how to sing. Not because it chose to, because someone decided that music itself was the enemy. To understand what was destroyed, you first have to understand what existed before. In the 1960s, Phnom Penh was alive. Cambodia's capital was a city of extraordinary creative energy, a place where traditional Khmer music, centuries old, was meeting American rock and roll, French chanson, Latin jazz, and producing something entirely its own. Cambodian musicians took the electric guitar and the Fender bass and wove them together with traditional Khmer scales, the haunting tones of the chape dong veng, the shimmer of the ronyat xylophone, creating a sound that was simultaneously ancient and modern, local and global, unlike anything else on Earth. This period, roughly 1960 to 1975, is known today as the golden era of Khmer music, and at its center were two voices. Sinn Sisamouth was known as the king of Khmer music, a singer-songwriter of extraordinary range, jazz, rock, traditional ballads, psychedelic pop, who wrote an estimated 1,000 songs across his career. 1,000 songs, one for almost every day he was a working musician. King Norodom Sihanouk himself appointed Sisamouth as a favorite court singer. His voice, described as the Cambodian Nat King Cole, was the sound of a nation at the height of its creative power. Alongside him was Ros Serey Sothea. Born around 1948 in Battambang province to a family of rice farmers, she grew up selling snails and working the fields. She won a local singing contest in 1963. That single victory changed everything. She was invited to Phnom Penh. She joined the national radio, and within years, she had become the most beloved female voice in Cambodia. King Sihanouk gave her an honorary title, Prea Raig Theani Somlang Meas, the Queen with the Golden Voice. She recorded hundreds of songs, romantic ballads, rock and roll, traditional Khmer melodies, film soundtracks, a voice of such warmth and purity that Cambodians who heard her described it as something beyond ordinary talent, something closer to grace. This was Cambodia in the early 1970s, a country with its own Elvis, its own Aretha Franklin, its own sound, its own stars, its own musical identity that belonged to no one else. And then, on the 17th of April 1975, the Khmer Rouge entered Phnom Penh. What followed has no adequate name in any language. Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge declared Year Zero, a total reset of Cambodian civilization. Everything that had existed before, culture, religion, education, family structure, music, was to be destroyed. The cities were emptied at gunpoint. Intellectuals were executed. Teachers were killed. Doctors were killed. Artists were killed. And musicians were among the very first targets. The Khmer Rouge understood what every authoritarian regime eventually understands, that music carries memory, that a song can hold the identity of a people long after everything else has been taken from them. And so the music had to go. Records were burned. Master tapes were destroyed. Instruments were smashed. Radio stations were silenced. And the musicians themselves were hunted. The best estimates suggest that 9 out of every 10 musicians in Cambodia were killed between 1975 and 1979. 9 out of 10. An entire generation of artists in 4 years. Sinn Sisamouth, the king of Khmer music, did not survive. The exact circumstances of his death are unknown, but one account has passed down through the years, and it is almost too painful to hold. It is said that before his execution, he was asked to sing one last song for his captors. The man who had sung for kings sang for the people who were about to kill him. Ros Serey Sothea disappeared sometime around 1977. She was approximately 29 years old. The circumstances of her death remain unknown. Some accounts say she died of exhaustion and starvation in a labor camp. Others say she was identified as a famous singer, forced to perform for the regime's leadership and then executed. Nobody knows. Her remains have never been found. The Queen with the golden voice vanished into the silence the Khmer Rouge was building around an entire nation. By 1979, when Vietnamese forces finally ended the Khmer Rouge regime, Cambodia's musical culture had been almost completely destroyed. Almost. Because something extraordinary had happened in the darkness. Ordinary Cambodian families, at enormous personal risk, had hidden records, smuggled cassette tapes, kept fragments of the music alive in secret. A song on a vinyl record hidden under floorboards, a melody hummed quietly so the children would remember, a tape wrapped in cloth and buried in the ground. The Khmer Rouge could burn the master tapes. They could not burn what lived inside people. After 1979, a woman named Ros Saboueur, Ros Serey, Sothea's older sister, one of the survivors, began the work of finding whoever was left. She gathered the surviving musicians. She collected the scattered recordings. She began the painstaking process of rebuilding what had been destroyed. Her work is widely credited with reviving Cambodian music after the genocide. A sister, looking for the echo of a voice that was gone, and finding instead an entire culture waiting to be remembered. Today, the music of Cambodia's golden era has been rediscovered by the world. Compilations of Sinn Sisamouth and Ros Serey Sothea have been released internationally. The documentary Don't Think I've Forgotten, named after one of Sisamouth's songs, brought their story to global audiences. A graphic novel tells Ros Serey Sothea's story. New generations of Cambodian musicians are building on the foundation that was almost erased. The music survived, not because it was powerful enough to stop what was happening. It wasn't. But because ordinary people chose to remember, chose to hide a record under the floorboards, chose to hum a melody to a child who would hum it to their own children, chose to refuse the silence that was being built around them. Kumnap ne phlech avei. In Khmer, don't think I've forgotten. This is the song behind the story, where music isn't the background, it's the point.